Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for bearing with us as we took a break, because I know everybody's so excited for this next game to start off. We've got Talentless Esports Females versus Sinister. My name is CDAPS if you're just joining in, as well as I've got a lovely lady from across the pond. I'm going to reuse the same introduction because I liked it. We've got Grace. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's fine. You can reuse this all you want. It's fine. No, I mean this next matchup is going to be an interesting one for sure. Again, I think I mentioned previously, Sinister Red are a team who've typically they've been around for a while. They can produce a really good roster, things like that. Talentless as well as like an org. They tend to put a lot of effort and energy into their rosters, so that's going to be an interesting one. Unfortunately, both these teams had a bit of a rough one last week, both losing. Sin losing 7-1 against Nova, Talentless 7-3 to Mirage Scouts. But I mean, again, look at these lineups. To be honest, CDAP's like a lot of people that we recognize, a lot of familiar faces. Certainly so on the side of Sinister Red, but even on the side of Talentless, yeah, a lot of names that people should be recognizing right now.
Yep, Talentless, Lucy Lawless, J-Night Owl, Midlight Dawn, and Bite-Sized Bear, which is not to be confused with the player off late registration from CL. It's not Guy on a Bear, it's Bite-Sized Bear. And for Sinister Red, you've got Assault Queen, E-Girl, Pyromaniac, Lady Brutal, and Brittany. And you said that both these teams came off of a loss, but I have some good news for you, Grace. One of them is going to win this week.
Yes, indeed. And again, that's certainly going to be exciting for whoever wins this evening. One thing that I will say is also exciting for me, to be honest, is how historically, again, Sinister Red, from what I've seen of their rosters playing in other tournaments, they can be very creative with how they approach maps, and they can bring the most incredibly insane strategies where you're like, is this going to work? And then it does work, and it's beautiful.
You're like,
legitimately, like a really good example of that is probably like Amaru rushes. They I've seen them pull it off before, and I hate with a burning passion that operator being used, to be honest. But they can pull it off, and that's going to be interesting.
Hey, you got to give them Mario the love, because G8, great gun. Gone 6, hard breach gadget.
It's just the rushes with it. It just I had never seen it work until Sinister Red, until this roster brought it to the table. And I remember just it blew my face off, because I was just like, how has this worked? So that's something that I'm looking forward to with this one. The creativity, the razzle dazzle. On the side of Talentless, I'm very, very excited to see what they're going to bring, especially given, again, a very supportive organization. So they'll certainly be getting a lot of, positive support staff, I reckon. I hope so. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, some maps are more catered towards innovation and fun excitement, and some of them are not. So hopefully for Sinister, they're going to be, not banning Coastline and Chalet, which they are, which it makes me sad. I would like to see some crazy strats coming out. But down goes Clubhouse, down goes Villa, in comes Oregon.
Which do you know what? So I feel a little
you can't
bit...
justify this in my mind.
No, I can. Okay, so Oregon, or Snoregon, as we like to call it in the UK at the moment.
Yep, Oregon,
Yeah.
Snoregon,
Oregon,
Boregan. I don't want to
Snoregon.
cast this anymore again.
But
That's how it goes.
It's more, at this point, as I've just said, perhaps we'll see some creativity here. Perhaps we need to see it not as Oregon, but Oregano, where it's like, ooh,
Spice,
a little bit of a sprinkling, a little bit of a spice, a little bit of a herby sauce. You know what I mean? Especially with Sinister, again, very creative. If you're going to a more down to basics map like Oregon or Clubhouse, I always call it the plowman sandwich, and everyone has a go at me for it, but it is, you're getting in that. You're getting with Oregon, you're getting with Clubhouse. Again, more evenly matched, so a lot of teams do prefer to go there. That's why we see it so much. And again, when you're having such a nice, solid, equal baseline, and you're going to be creative with it, yes, of course, it works. That gives you so much freedom and breathing space to work with for, again, these ridiculous strategies. Hopefully, we'll see. Both teams bring to the table, but certainly on the side of Sinister, bring the old razzle dazzle, see what they bring. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I think it won't be a boring Oregon. Hopefully, it won't be a boring Oregon.
Fingers crossed. You call them Plowman sandwiches. I call them equalizer maps because every team knows how to play them. And it's just kind of like just straight across who's going to play better on that day, which a lot of the times, like you said, everybody, you know what you're going to get. So for both teams, they know what's going to happen.
Predictable.
Very predictable. It's an equalizer. It's an equal playing field. So for both of these teams, they're probably, I would be willing to bet some money that they're comfortable on this map, because that's like you're starting a comp siege team starter pack. You get 5 people. Yeah, you get a team name, and then you learn Clubhouse in Oregon. Those are your first 3 steps. If you don't, you're probably going to set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, no, that is so hitting the nail on the head. That is so hitting the nail on the head. I like that. No, absolutely. And everyone knows these maps. Everyone knows Oregon, certainly now at the back of their hand. Again, very specific choke points that you will see. Very specific choke points, certainly so on this map. Again, basement, you've got things like blue and pillars. Upstairs, often you have to take either a 2-dimensional approach, or you're just going to basically funnel yourself into a rate of fire. So yeah, standardization here and room for creativity as a result.
Maybe some room for creativity, but maybe not.
I hope.
I am also begging, but sometimes our prayers will be answered with our begging and our groveling. And hopefully it starts off in the map bans. Maybe we'll see something fun. Yesterday, I saw Zofia ban on Oregon. I was like, okay, maybe it'll be fun. But starting off with the Jackal, interesting enough. Not necessarily the most common ban, especially since his nerf that feels like forever ago. Jackal is not really as much in the meta, but if the team is really... If Talentless are known for their Jackal play, that's something that's going over my head, and I apologize for that. But overall, I mean, it is a solid gun and it is smokes, but it's nothing like a Thatcher that can all of a sudden cut all of the utility with, like, just like flicking off a light switch, quite literally with him.
Joe, that's really interesting, because Talentless obviously starting on the attack here. They chose not to have the Thatcher in their own attack. And yes, you can say that's because perhaps they've been... Well, naturally, you'd be scrimming without it because you'd assume 9 times out of 10 Thatcher will be banned. But what you do sometimes often see is if you get into that position, you're like, we get 6 rounds in a trot with potentially Thatcher, a very easy utility clear. Why don't we just do it? So... already maybe a little bit of staticness coming through from Talentless. They've got their plan. They really want to stick to it here. So this is going to be interesting again, especially considering how Sinister are potentially going to play this. Again, them banning out the Jackal on attack usually indicates to you a very, very heavy roam game. I wonder where this roam is going to be. I wonder how extended these holds are going to be. And I'm wondering what utility they're going to try and take with them in order to aid them on their quest with that.
Yeah, overall, I mean, we've already just gone on our whole Oregon diary. Like, how much can you really reinvent the wheel? But I guess for Talentless, their first reinventing of the wheel is adding an extra spoke and bringing 2 flank watch. So they are very, very worried about Sinister just coming from behind constantly. I like to say hitting a lick, just sprinting up a staircase and trying to collect your freebies as a roamer is. With air jabs as well as 0 cams, that's going to be very difficult to do if Talentless play this correctly. But it also could be kind of the opposite side of the coin, that they're doubling up on the flank watch because it's something that they particularly struggle with, where if you have flank cams and nomads and we see Sinister still able to get off these flanks, it could be absolutely detrimental on their attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do like on the side of Sinister, but I'm not sure how impactful it will be. Again, I'm not sure how speedy Gonzalez Talentless are going to be with it all. But often when you see people bringing the alibi utility, it's because they're expecting like a full-on aggressive push, aggressive rush, a kind of all-out gun show. And again, you can really catch people off guard, especially if you've got a very aggressive entry who is just going to be just full on clicking every single head they see. It's easy, easy intel.
Yeah, it's really easy intel as well. It's just her overall utility is insanely
Oh, goodness
strong. I mean,
gracious,
the
yes.
MX4 just got a 1.5, so it's a Roni with more bullets. You have a shield and you have a shotgun pistol. What more can you ask for? I mean, you can also bring impacts if you really want to, but who would when you have a bad lobby, unfortunately. Yeah, I think there's something with Oregon. I had this yesterday in our community cast that everything was just freezing over and over again. So I think we are gonna unfortunately have to take a rehost. Sometimes Ubi can't bless us with the servers, just like these teams can't bless us with a better map than Oregon.
No. And it can be a little bit awkward at times. You are at the mercy of, the overall infrastructure of the game. But this is the perfect use of Ayana's utility as well, clearing attic, especially if people aren't immediately situated behind that shield. But it does appear like there is a little bit of a ping issue there. We're seeing a little bit of rubber banding even on the Ayana utility, and it's all one.
Yeah.
Respect to them for trying to play out though.
Yep. Hopefully everything gets taken care of eventually. Yes, so it seems like we are just going to be playing out this round and seeing how things go, but for the attackers, they're really struggling to push forward, not because they can't push their keys, but because rubber bands are just holding them back and springing them to the previous location. The bullets are coming through the floor. Pyra trying to land shots on the Ash down below, who has gotten the anti-breaching measures off of the game's wall. But there's only a minute left for Talentless to try to go for this attack, and for Team Sinister, they're locked up in the only bits of map control that really matters. They've got Master, they've got Attic, they've got J-Knight on the ground, but Midlight's gonna get the refrag. Dawn also goes down through those floor holes. Never mind, she's all the way up inside of Armory, and E-Girl's gonna take her down. The repel game is coming through as Midlight takes another life. She claims another victim. Down goes Pyromaniac. Now, it's a 3v4. There's still only 30 seconds left. The time isn't in the favor of the attackers, especially not when your diffuser and final hard breacher is dead inside of the closet. Lady Brutal takes out J-Knight. Now it's just Midlight and Lucy Lawless who are going to have to get a whole lot of kills and not a whole lot of time. More shots laning out. Queen hits the floor. E-Girl answers back onto Lucy Lawless. It's just the Yana left alive, and Lady Brutal will make sure that that does not happen for long. First round goes the way of Team Sinister, and we are going to be going to a rehost.
Yeah, and I think I think there was obviously a lot of lag there and stuff.
Yeah,
but
just a little.
Yeah, but I will say for the most part that round it was a bit curious to see the armory positioning being held so late into the round. With no kind of immediate.
They never pushed her. She's gonna stay there.
They didn't push her, and yes, you can say that's lag, but also a little bit risky biscuits, as I like to say, to leave it that late. I was kind of getting to the 30 mark, and I was like, "Ooh, there's no real setup for the collapse here." So again, I am curious to see once this rehost goes through whether we're going to see a lot more of a smoother approach for that collapse. But otherwise, it's only round one. Not much you can really say about it.
I don't even know if that. I don't quite know if that round is going to count or not. We might replay. We might just keep that one on the board. But I did actually like the Team Sinister. I liked their Sinister Red, as we'll say. I liked their extension because the armor extension wasn't necessarily to kill time. It was establishing a really nice crossfire inside of Master, which when you go for the Attic Master split, you're trying to get that breach open. Sure, you got to go below and get like the Mute Jammer, Electric Law, Band of Batteries, whatever off the wall. But you still have to get inside a Master to be able to breach that. And you have a shotgun in the closet, which is not easy to clear. And when you try to swing them, you also have an alibi 1.5 staring at you through some long angles. It was just Master became a blender. And they pushed the button. All of a sudden, everybody on Talentless got turned into a smoothie. They were dead. Everything was done. And Team Sinister took that round.
Yeah, and again, I'm very, very fond of the kind of long, aggressive angles, and I'm also very, very fond of Alibi as an operator, and I think, sometimes we are blessed with her presence in comp, but I do think going forward, certainly in the next 6 months within the competitive circuit, I do think we are going to see Alibi actually brought a lot more.
The gun is so good with a
It's
1.5.
just,
It's
again,
so good.
it's like we mentioned before, just the utility, the gun, the bailiff to shoot out hatches and rotates if you need it. The shield, of course, shields are going to always be
Yeah, well, we don't
useful.
even need to talk about how good shields are.
Yeah, and the utility itself, just to, again, that intel, that live ping, and really catching aggressive players off guard. And we are going to see the meta shift more and more, especially certainly after the most recent changes. So again, a very exciting autumn winter coming up for Siege, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've got like the attacker changes that you can like swap
Mm.
mid round. Twitch now has infinite range. That'll be
Yes,
interesting.
which is, yeah, that's going to be,
It's going to be an interesting one.
yeah.
No longer are your mirror windows safe at all.
No, no, and I
No.
think a lot of people, a lot of maybe previously misaligned, obviously Twitch zaps are now just going to be a full-on laser beam.
Yep.
So yeah, a little
Your
bit.
1 HP will be gone
Yeah, no,
if you
no,
see one.
that's exactly it. Someone's on the tiniest nubbin of health, and you know that they're even breathed on, they're going down, and someone just comes in with a drone with a laser attached to it. It's going to be a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to tweak that a little bit going forward. But otherwise, yeah,
I mean, they only take
potentially
1 HP away. When was the last time you were actually 1 HP? Sure, every time you get a gunfight,
true,
you go, oh yeah, he's 1 HP, he's 1 HP. Actually, he's probably like 15. Like, sure, one
true.
bullet, but saying 1 HP makes you seem like not as bad of a player. That, like, you potatoed half your mag and you left him at like 25. But nah, he's one shot. He's one shot.
I'd say you
That's what you.
see people more around like the 10 mark if they're real
Yeah.
bad, but like yeah, it's just
And
the
you're not going to
fact
get
that
zapped 10 times without
you're
moving.
not, but you're still going to get that initial zap, which is going to distract you, and then someone can swing you. And I already know, there's a lot of alt F4s going down. Okay, I already know that's going to happen. It'll be me doing it because I always get caught off guard by stuff like that. But yeah, we are just currently rebuilding the lobby, so thank you for your patience, everybody. Obviously, second matchup of this evening, Talentless versus Sinister Red. I'm expecting big things, to be honest. And I know obviously the first round was a little bit disappointing because of maybe a little bit of the lag and stuff like that. But again, I do think that if Talentless are going to be going for the same kind of setup and pushes, a little bit risky biscuits. I
I
don't even
mean,
think, do they realistically, okay, I was going to say, do they need to focus Armory that much? But what I mean by that is on that window ledge like that, they could have potentially sent someone underneath, a little bit of Ayana
yeah, just
action.
in the floor nade. We talked
Floor
about
nade,
those earlier.
exactly. Ayana with the nades, get the floor nade cooked from the garage, just send it up there.
Because she's going to be in like the deeper side if you come from Main Street. She's going to be
Yeah.
over like of Armory, more big tower side because she has to hold that angle. And like, I mean, hey, even especially on a second floor attack, you can justify bringing the buck, especially if you want to switch to a big window take. So,
Yeah.
buck the hatch. Maybe you're going to just get a surprise alibi landing at your feet if she's over on that side. If not, you can just floor nade her in the other corner or just keep on sending skeleton key shots as you have somebody on the window. Armory is a position that you can clear with just a little bit of teamwork. But I think for Talentless, I think it caught them off guard and they didn't. I mean, E-Girl was just sitting in a corner chilling. She never got droned. She knew that her position was strong, and the Ash just ran right by her and got her freebie. And that was just enough time. And then I think they didn't even get to drone the mute that was inside of the closet where the thermite with diffuser were just wanted to open up a wall and then got a whole lot of M590 buckshot.
I mean, again, it's the thing is with that kind of setup for the defense is like I've seen it time and time again, and I think it's something that has always worked, even on old Oregon. There's many a time playing even like a Legion where you just kind of have like a line of sight there, put down some goos, and you don't really have to peek until the old goos as well. Not the goose which you can't see them after a certain amount,
Yeah.
but the goose where you could
Oh,
see
do you
them
remember when you could
everywhere.
see
You could
them through
see
the
them, and it
walls?
was so
And
good.
they
It
would
was
do
so
10
good.
HP of damage.
Oh,
Every time you hit one and you would hit a tower trying to walk into
honestly,
sight and just instantly die.
look what they did to my boy.
They
Yeah,
really did.
they
They really did massacre my boy.
they really did, and yeah, but those were the days. But I'm glad to see that that same kind of aggressive angle is still being used, and I think we're probably always going to end up seeing it now and again, and it can be quite nostalgic to see, certainly. An oldie but a goodie, as we like to say.
I just sometimes wish, like, the nostalgia of old Siege seasons could come back, but hey, it's got to move on. I think actually right now, meta-wise, we're in a very good place in the game. I think there's just enough breathability. And that Team Sinister round did count. So they're not even going down to the basement. They're going for the good old meeting hold, traditionally the tertiary bomb site, third in the rotation for the defenders. Will actually be the second. Team Sinister, they're feeling confident in how they're setting things up with castle barricades, a whole lot of shotguns, and a whole lot of intel on those bulletproof cams. 2 from Maestro, 1 from Pyra on the castle.
And I'm so happy they've decided to go to this side over kitchen dining, because I would have definitely raged out about it. But of course, for the attack now, it is so important. I cannot stress this enough. It is pivotal for them to get that top floor control and certainly get that attic control, especially if going for the rear stage plant. A lot of people can mess this up sometimes, where they'll go for the rear stage plant, but they haven't opened up the attic, or they've opened attic, but they haven't taken full attic control, and then they kind of forget about it a bit, and then they just get that full retake from above, and it's just a nightmare. It's chaotic. So yeah, the attacks certainly for the site have a lot more work to do, and it'll be interesting again to see how they go about doing it, what kind of dimensional pushes they decide to take. Especially given how, again, maybe slightly caught off guard they were by some of those longer angles and alternative setups last round.
Yep. A whole lot of just waiting around so far. Is the roam up top for Sinister, for Team Sinister. They know that eventually Talentless is going to have to clear them, because things like that hatch inside of attic can effectively cut down any default plant inside a meeting, whether it be stage, whether it be sandbags, whether it be over towards split. You can get shot, and there's not a real good place that you can, plant. And that's probably the end goal of the Talentless attack, is to get that diffuser down and eventually force all the Team Sinister players to then do the attack, which on Oregon is definitely not that fun. But with a minute and a half gone, Talentless, they're a little bit sluggish, but I would say more on the methodical side. They really want to make sure that all their ducks are in a row. They're cutting rotations. They know the general idea of where these players are, but they didn't know that Pyromaniac was down below. That floor angle inside of security will net a kill onto big window, making sure that Dawn, the entry, is not going to be able to fulfill her role, and somebody else is going to have to take the mantle and start getting aggressive for Talentless, because the time is not in their favor.
It's really not, a minute on the clock, and they have not really been able to clear much of this top floor. And again, it's at perhaps another kind of matchup where there's going to be a little bit of hesitance initially from one of the teams, but I love the patience of just waiting in attic with a shotgun. I respect it.
I think Lady Brutal is going to get some action coming soon as this castle barricade gets opened, which they can't open the wall, so they probably are going to have to open up the barricade. Yes, the 81 might just start singing that beautiful Italian song, and she could swing out at any given moment, especially because she has a crossfire with E-Girl on the other side of Split. Diana looking the wrong way. Down goes Midlight. It's a chopping block, and the 81 is hungry. A triple kill for the Maestro, as J-Knight is going to run in right into the shotgun of E-Girl. Once again, I'm going to say the blender. That's exactly what these power positions were, because Talentless were a little bit too slow on their attack. They had to throw the Hail Mary, and the cover 3, the deep back safeties for Team Sinister, those anchors, they swatted the ball straight down.
I mean, it's just the Alder, isn't it? Like, it's every time.
That Alda moment.
Hot knife through butter. Literally a hot knife through butter. And it is just... That's like a laser, to be honest. I mean, you might as well just stick that gun to Twitch's drone at this point, but...
I mean... I'd be interested
let's not give anyone any ideas actually.
Put it on test servers. I want to drive a drone that can shoot people. That'd be fun. Have it do like 5 damage a shot, but just a normal drone.
Oh, please.
Just give it an AK-47.
Not even Twitch's drone, just all the drones. Just all going around with AKs. I respect it.
Have you played a lot of CSGO?
Do you know what? I haven't, but lately people have been trying to teach me, and it's the funniest thing because it's
Yeah,
so
so there's the
different to
chickens
see.
that run around, and sometimes
Yes,
when the devs are feeling spicy, and like some like the modded servers, if you do like a warm up server, the chickens will just have AKs.
I
Those
love
run around.
that.
That's what I'm imagining the drones are, just
I
just
love
running
that.
around with a Russian rifle.
That's how I like my chickens, weaponized.
Yep, not medium rare. You don't like medium rare chicken?
I'm actually vegan, but
Oh, so you don't like chicken at all.
no, but I'm okay for them to have AK-47s apparently,
They
so
can defend
they can
themselves.
defend themselves. Doesn't matter if we eat them or not; they now have guns.
Yes.
1v1 them IRL.
Everybody's talking about the right to bear arms, but we want the right to chicken arms.
There's a joke about chicken wings here, but I'm not sure what it is.
You know? Whatever. 2-0 Sinister Academy as they will finally go downstairs to the basement. A pretty bunker-esque turtle strap besides E-Girl on the roam. She's just gonna sit upstairs and try to cause mayhem. Kill as much time as possible because for the side of Talentless, time has definitely been the sixth defender. They've been fighting the man disadvantage even from the start because that clock is not ticking into their favor, and they're trying to overcome that constantly. When you have Team Sinister employing the kind of extended roam setups, it can sometimes be a daunting task. And for Sinister, they're definitely comfortable playing these extended holds. They've done it pretty well so far. But now with Talentless going a little bit more direct, they're challenging a TCSG inside of Pillar. Dawn trying to take the shots over towards the Goyo. That's Pyra holding on to Pillar for her life. She's going to have to stay alive for as long as possible, but that's not possible anymore. Headshot reigns true. Dawn with the opening frag, and with the plethora of flank watch opportunities for Talentless, E-Girl's not in a healthy position.
No, but there's a lot of really relatively solid time wasting going on here because again, it's not really. Oh, well, Brittany actually getting a little bit bolshy with it on the laundry staircase. Bear falling and dropping the diffuser there. Dawn is going to go for a little bit of a slow trade onto Queen, with more trades coming through. Ultimately, Talentless actually coming out on top there, as it's all left down to E-Girl now. Goodness gracious me! There we go. There's one. Can she get two more?
Maybe. Because she's kind of locked out of sight with those gridlocks, but J-Knight hasn't planted the diffuser yet. E-Girl's going to snake right through him. I don't think the Talentless has an idea. Till that impact rains out, they know that she's main stairs. She's going to have to win these gunfights. Narrowly misses the head of Lucy Lawless, and that's the last mistake that E-Girl's going to get to make. Beautiful shots. Everything rained true. And I guess that's why the tertiary bomb site for Team Sinister actually is the basement.
I'm curious how that would have gone if maybe, again, they just got a bit bullshit with it and were like, I'm not going to impact this actually, I'm just going to try and like glide through it and hope they don't hear. A little bit risky though, a little bit risky. Yeah, I think potentially to play, yes, you are losing the health, but you could have caught them a little bit off guard there. Which,
that's why I don't like gridlock as a flank watch.
I despise
you can just tank them.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
No.
Oh my goodness gracious. No, I say this so much.
No, I see gridlocks and I sprint through them.
No, that's it. No, like why would you ever take a gridlock over a nomad? Okay, not only is it like, yes, obviously with gridlock it's a tiny,
there are other ways.
It's a tiny sound, but with the nomad air jabs, you get the knockback. The sound is a lot louder as well. So again, especially if you've got more destructibility on a map, you can really utilize that to create a little bit of a sound tunnel at parts, especially if you've got the opportunity to kind of shoot out a few little holes where you need them. But yeah, I think of the gridlock, it's a bit of a waste of an operator. You do get the kind of, of course there's maybe a little rustling, but again, I don't think...
There are positions where you can bring the gridlock, but I mean, if you think about her, she's got 6 burn. That's where I think of gridlock. I've run gridlock as an entry in some strats if you don't need the speed.
How?
F90, great gun. F90, great gun. If you go for slow attacks anyways, You have 6 burn
The thought of
and
a
a great gun.
gridlock as an entry made me so uncomfortable.
But hey,
So uncomfortable.
think about it this way.
Oof.
I have seen gridlock used perfectly once, and it was on Coastline, a kitchen attack, Aqualix last week of the season. They fused the site to make sure that everybody had to run away, and then they threw down the track stingers to make the retake impossible. But Queen is going to make getting the hard breach gadget on the wall impossible. And she's going to jump straight out with the shotgun. Down goes Lucy Lawless. And she's going on a lap. She's getting her cardio in for the day. She has the safe rotation down inside the basement, and she has 2 kills to her name early off.
Do you know what? I respect it so much. I really do. I love it. I love the rat plays. I want to see more of that. Absolutely.
You got a drone T3. Your first order of business on a tower take is you break that top window and you throw the drone all the way up. At least they know that Queen has to be inside a bunker, but Midlight no longer is holding it. But does Queen know that she's no longer holding it? Probably not. She's kind of scared and knows that every second she's left alive, she becomes more and more dangerous. Her flank is coming out. She's creeping up the staircase. Shotgun in hand for these close range engagements could be absolutely lethal for all of the talentless attackers who are stacked up inside and maybe outside. Down goes Midlight, the triple kill for the mute, as E-Girl on the other side of the map is going to make this a 1v5 for Bear. Definitely struggling, has an access way into sight, but doesn't have any life left in the tank. A headshot, 2 kills for E-Girl, 3 for Queen, 3-1 lead for Team Sinister.
Do you know what it is as part of the strat? Is taking the Union Jack skin. Especially if your name is Queen. You know, it gives you a little buff.
Long live the Queen.
God save the Queen, indeed. And, you know, Queen went through these outrageous plays. Absolutely outrageous. Should not have got away. That shotgun run out should not have occurred. But it did. And that is such a moment of, you know, wow. You somehow
especially because
that.
she just got to go hit a marathon.
It was
rotate
just
all the way down into blue.
Uncontested as well. Uncontested, went all the way down, was able to then get the flank and get back into the same position pretty much. But obviously the other side of the tower to then just stand in the window like Mike Myers and just a little bit of a cheeky SMG 11 to the face. Yeah. So I respect it. I respect it. I want to see more of that, to be honest.
An E-Girl inside of Armory, we already talked about how powerful a position that can be. And we saw it once again be a very, very powerful position. Team Sinister's top floor, definitely scary. Not fun to deal with, but I think that the crossfire that they had in Split on round 2 was even scarier. You had to pick your poison. You either had to sprint at the 81 or sprint at a shotgun, and both of those were losing fights.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Attackers are heading out to the
Very similar setups, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Team Sinister, upstairs presence, early fall-offs, down the hatch, rotate over towards Split if that's where the take goes, because Talentless, they stalled out just a little bit. They didn't really have a foot in on any location, especially when they tried to jump in the big window. Down below was Pyro with the UMP, landing, what, like 4 or 5 body shots? That's how much it takes to kill with the UMP with that slow rate of fire. But when you're in a vaulting position like window, you can't really do a whole lot. You kind of are completely helpless, and that's what Pyro is going to be trying to take advantage once again, as the entire push is coming west to east.
Absolutely. I was kind of curious to see what kind of, you know, home improvements Sinister are going to bring, considering the amount of, you know, kind of soft destructibility in terms of weapons that those defenders have. But it so far seems to be mostly the classics. We're not going to see Lady Brutal, though, again, another classic little Elder kill onto Dawn on the Ash. So that's a lot of utility taken off the board within the first minute or so.
Yeah, I mean, losing Dawn, it seems like she's one of the only players on Talentless that wants to get aggressive. And when you're running 2 flank watch operators, one of those is going to have to really, as soon as their utility goes down, probably Lucy on the Nomad, place those air jabs and then become an entry. You've got burn, and you've got a pretty good weapon in the ARX. We've seen Yana's use it as an entry gun, so it's definitely very viable. But as this, direct take is coming to fruition, once again, they're going to have to fight the Alda. But thankfully for them, they don't have a whole lot of HP to take off of the Maestro, but they still have a full 100 on the Crossfire that they're going to have to deal with Pyromaniac. Lady Brutal is in still a safe spot, even though this wall has been open, especially because it's just a can opener. It's a small hole. But a big hole ripped right into the head of Pyromaniac as the swing comes out, but now they have to worry about the upstairs hatch. That's where Queen is residing. She's going to see the snaking player come through, more buckshot coming out. Down goes Bear, and in comes J-Knight on the other side trying to push security with Lucy Lawless. Now, both of these players, because of that air jab, because of the sighting onto Sam Fisher, they know that these final two players are over towards Z. They're kind of castled off into split. They've got to funnel in one way or another. Smoke canisters running through as Queen's going to play close with a shotgun. She misses the first shot and doesn't get a second. A refrag comes out as Lady Brutal will get that, as it's just J-Knight in the 1v3. Air jab hit down below. The 0 goes up above. Only 13 seconds left on the clock. She's going to have to hit a hot drop and probably line up quite a few players, but they're not peeking. They're not giving her anything except a bunch of bullets as E-Girl swings out and takes another round for Sinister.
Yeah, Sinister doing a really, really good job at the moment of just kind of holding it together a lot more coherently. I do think that maybe, again, it's a really interesting one because I think there's a few tiny mistakes that Talentless are making here, there, and everywhere, like especially in terms of where utility is being used sometimes. We saw a smoke go down a little bit prematurely, and there wasn't really any execute from that. And typically, when you see smokes go down,
I think it bounced off. I think they were trying to burn with it, and it just bounced the wrong way.
Okay.
Which is unlucky because, like, the door frames have like the little knob, and I think it hit the middle knob and just said, "Nope, I'm going to the left instead of the right."
Ooh.
I don't care. I think that's what happened. But I think for Talentless, their biggest issue has been kind of team cohesion on entries, where it feels like Dawn either is the only one pushing forward, or she's kind of like, I don't know if she's pushing up too fast that her team can't go with her, or if the rest of her team is going too slow. But either way, it's kind of like two different waves of attack for Talentless, where it's just Dawn pushing in solo, then the rest of the team pretty far back behind her. That removes all possibility of trades, refrags, whatever you want to call them. And I think it's really forcing Talentless to, grab and throw Hail Marys. We've seen them have to rush in doorways, funnel in right into the Team Sinister defenses, which is exactly what these defenses are designed for. They take choke points and make them absolute death traps.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we've seen a 6 pick onto a Cav right now, though, is
they're confident. They're feeling themselves.
That is indicating a lot about the mood on the Team Sinister camp right now. Obviously, they are 3 rounds ahead, and they are easily maintaining their cool in a lot of these rounds. So I think now they're getting a little bit cheeky with it, to be honest.
They're starting to feel themselves. Because, hey, for the side of Talentless, they're going to be funneling in for a full blue take, where there's quite a bit of utility allocated to this side of the map from Team Sinister, and it's going to be difficult to try to overcome this. Sure, you've already got Eagle removed from elbow with a minute, which actually is quite good timing. The Goyo shield pops off, and that's the, that's the indicator for Eagle to just leave. But it's the indicator for Queen to start getting aggressive. She's just living inside a big tower. That is her home. She loves that area, gets a little bit of damage over towards Dawn, but not enough to be fully deadly. However, they know that she went all the way back inside of T3. Probably not.
No, I think at this point you would assume that there would be the collapse back to pillars, and downing a player at pillars is probably going to, again, increase the confidence. They're not even going to bother droning upstairs or even checking. I'm assuming there's not a flank drone right now for that top floor. But again, a very, very risky biscuits, and with the kind of outrageous plays Queen has been going for the majority of this map so far, this is going to potentially be very spooky for Talentless.
Yeah, Talentless, they're having to funnel in, but one trade goes the way of Lucy onto Queen, and the breaches are now opened up. The man advantage, it's in the favor of Talentless, as their basement attacks are actually a lot better than all of their others. However, The gridlocks come through. Brittany can get a flank because they're opened up. Midlight takes out Lady Brutal, but Brittany, she's on a flank of her own. E-Girl inside of Gold Hall. She's going to go for 2, but the diffuser went down. It's a 2v2 situation. Bear's going to take out Brittany, leaving it just to E-Girl to get this clutch. She only has about 30 seconds to work with and 2 bodies that she needs to find, but one of them she just found. Down goes J-Knight. And it's just Bear versus E-Girl, and E-Girl is on an absolute heater. Sam cams all over the place. Her position is definitely known, but does she know where Bear is? Most likely, because the pre-fires rain out the diffuser. It's in a default spot. The pre-fire raining out, and it's gonna land the quad kill for E-Girl. The 1v3, absolutely massive, as she did it all on her own, and she's gonna get the 5-1 split for Team Sinister.
The 4K clutch, you do love to see it. That's certainly one again clipped and shipped this evening. Again, I love the fact that there was all this setup, all this build up, and you know, I think even we felt that, oh my gosh, this play from Queen that might come through now is gonna be significant, and it's going to completely throw a spanner in the works and completely catch them off guard, and then Queen does it, immediately gets caught off and goes down. So, you know, I respect the bolshiness, but perhaps next time it will work.
Yeah, I mean, E-Girl just went massive, and they had all the info in the world. We saw this quick swing around of the 0 that, yes, she's swinging the elbow breach. They know. But when you're feeling good, you're feeling great, E-Girl on a heater, just swinging with confidence, landing that first bullet headshot, there's not a whole lot that you can do. Maybe for Bear on the Habana, trying to take a slightly longer angle to mitigate the peeker's advantage could have gone into her favor, but with not a whole lot of breaching going on, there weren't real deep lines of sight to protect that diffuser. Regardless, she was either going to have to swing or be swung, and she chose the latter, and it did not work out into her favor. And now Talentless, they're staring down the barrel of a 5-1 attacking half. With Sinister, sure, they're on the attack now, which is objectively more difficult on this map of Oregon, but Sinister are feeling a lot more confident. You know, they've got Lady Brutal and E-Girl both putting up numbers that nobody on the side of Talentless are remotely close towards. And Talentless, even though they're still on the defense, they're in a stronger position. I still think that they have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And again, you know, this site typically it's not that difficult to approach as an attacker if you go very back to basics, very back to standard procedure. You know, again, we're going to see the hard breach open this wall into games, and then the Maverick is going to be utilized to get open the attic, which it is already. Again, very standard ways to approach. Even the standard Maverick with the little peak hole to kind of hold that angle down attic as you start to use that blowtorch to open up that rotate. It's an interesting one. One thing that is also interesting, though, is the positioning of Lucy downstairs, because I'm wondering how impactful that's going to be in the late round.
She could be very impactful, but that's Lady Brutal's job to cut those flanks and make sure that she cannot just get up a staircase for free. And as Lucy lost, she's going to go ahead and start rotating up for the flank. She could, if intel is right, sneak right on by. Doesn't see like the drone actually just saw her out at the last bit before she took it down. And E-Girl has attic control. Things are shaping up nicely for the Team Sinister attack, but Talentless can still answer back if they get the first frag or even the second. They can take all of the wind out of the sails of the Team Sinister attack. But right now, they seem to be flying at full mast. Down goes Bear. The Wamai that ages with time gets better as the round progresses, will not get any more magnets. Now Concrete and a whole lot of control is in the favor of the Team Sinister attackers. Lucy answers back onto Brittany, but Queen will cut her down right after, keeping the man advantage for the attackers.
And again, I just want to really point out to everyone that the side of Sinister, these are players that have played together for so long, and they really know how to work together, and that's why we've seen such a relatively clean take of attic especially. And there we go, the execute and plant has gone down. and it is now a retake situation for the side of Talentless. Those Nomad air jabs holding back that flank even more.
But hey, it's a 3v3. Make that a 2v2. Make that a 2v1 as the flank fully came out, air jab or not. But Queen is still in a powerful position. She's cooking a nade, making sure they can't get on this diffuser. Midlight goes down, but the pre-fire can't quite connect either. The 2v1 clutch, easy as you like. One downed with a nade, one finished off with bullets. See, Team Sinister. Guess what, Grace?
Match point.
They're on match point.
Do you know what? I really love the fact that they chose to use the X-Kairos on the trophy wall into Attic, because
that angle is nice.
It was like the take of Attic was so by the book, and they did it so cleanly, but to have that angle there, that extra angle, I think if someone was going to even try and contest Attic, they would second guess themselves and be like, actually, I don't really want to, because what if they are holding some weird ratty angle and just like shoot my feet out or something? So yeah, I really loved that. And again, the fact that they opened it up actually ultimately helped them to win that. Really beautiful utility work, and then getting the pick through that angle, and
especially because it was a prone angle, that was such a one-sided gunfight. Really well done.
100%.
But now we have the question: can they do it again? Can they?
I mean, this is it, right? Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, Sinister lost 7-1 last week.
Yep.
And they're potentially about to win 7-1.
You know, they just came, they said, nah, this is not how our season's going to go. We're going to bounce back, and we're going to bounce back real strong. They have the potential to go from 1-7, 7-1. Even round differential.
Well, that's 100%. That's that last point is 100% what I was going to point out. It's the fact that, you know, if they get this dub on the board and they get, you know, up in the standings as a result of that, but then they also will be even higher still, because the round differential that was maybe not great for them at the start of the evening is going to completely flip on its head by the end of the evening.
Yeah, they took a bad situation and did pretty much the best they could have done. I mean, a 7-0, they would be +1 as opposed to +0, but we don't see 7-0s very often because it's very, very difficult. I mean, especially, maybe they could have. They could also get an opening pick, as Brittany's just sitting outside of the classroom window. Lucy Lawless, not the best peak in the world, but you can always learn from your mistakes. I doubt she's ever going to challenge that again.
No, and I think sometimes things like that is a bit of a retaliation to the previous ratty plays that Sinister themselves were bringing. It's
she almost caught him off, but she could only see like the very tip of her head. That is not an easy shot to land.
Yeah, and again, they're going to start using this utility perfectly clear. Well, oh, maybe not as perfectly clear as that magnet is going to snuffle that up like pigs eating truffles. More utility being sent out to pull those defenders back towards the kids. And again, look, they're just making it look so fluid in how they managed to, you know, take these map control.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them take Attic relatively easily last time. They got the trophy breach opened up, and they were able to just sneak their way onto concrete for that safe plant. And most likely that's on the docket once again for the Team Sinister attack. Based on positions, they're rotating Lady Brutal as well as E-Girl over towards that side, because Queen did her job. She took control of Attic. She's all the way down dip, and she's hungry. She wants to get another kill and break this round straight open. Fragonade's going to come over towards that back corner, slightly displace J-Knight, as well as Bear, who's over in that corner. Dawn takes down E-Girl as she's making her way up the white staircase, and she's going to stay strong with the Roni over towards this rotate. A nice angle, but it can't stop the plant as Pyromaniac has managed to find her way inside the bomb site. An ill-timed swing almost takes out Lady Brutal, but she's going to stand strong. Can't quite finish off, but it's actually a whole bunch of bullets everywhere. The diffuser goes down, but it's all for naught. J-Knight clutches up in a pretty hectic post plant. Pyra planted it, finished typing in the password, got up, killed somebody, and then boom, she was the last one alive. finish it off, and Dawn doesn't even get resurrected, revived, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like there's a bit of a moment there. It was like, what's happened? Everyone's dead. Yeah, Bear just goes and kills everyone, and then this thing comes up from night out, and I was almost there, like, is that everyone? Is everyone dead?
It didn't seem like it. I saw 2v. Oh wait, no, that's a 0. That means they won. Yay!
You do love to see it, but Talentless hanging on by the skin of their teeth right now. I mean, realistically, if they come back from this and they manage to take it to overtime, it's going to be very, very, very impressive. But
I mean, weirder things have happened.
Weirder things have happened, but I again think that the Sinister just seem to be absolutely on fire today. They've had their Weetabix this morning. They're raring to go.
I think that might be the most British thing you said all day today.
What do you mean?
They had their Weetabix. See, we say, they ate their Wheaties.
Is that what Weetabix is called in America?
No, because Weetabix are like the bricks, right?
They're like, they're not quite bricks. They're like, I don't know. They're a bit rounder than bricks.
Yeah, but they're like rectangular discs. Almost.
Kind of. It's kind of like, imagine a shape of like a sponge.
It's a rectangle with filleted edges.
It's more like a sponge, like a shower sponge, but then they've made it out of wheat.
But you eat it. Yeah.
It's wheaty.
Yeah, Wheaties for us is just like straight up shredded, and you just throw it in a bowl, and like, oh my gosh, Tiger Woods or LeBron James is on it. That makes me cool if I buy it. So.
Sports. Let's go sports.
Sports. Yes. Go team.
Go team.
Basement. Currently a 50% win rate. 1 for the attack, 1 for the defense, but 1 kill for the attack is Midlight, or pardon me, onto the attack is Midlight hitting a nice shot onto Brittany. The entries this game, they've been struggling to deal with the roam, and for initial map control, it has definitely been an uphill battle that Queen is really being the equalizer on. She gets the late trade. Don't know if that counts on the cost. Didn't count it inside my head. But a 4v4 man count after the initial roam clear definitely is nothing to scoff at.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you win those, and again, it's not any super important utility for the execute taken off. Yes, you're missing some concussions and impacts just in case you need that for utility clear, things like that, but it's certainly doable with what they still have left on the table.
Yeah. I mean, air jabs are down. They're going to start getting control, like the main Freezer split that they're shaping up towards. Sure, there's a shield inside of Freezer with an ADS and a SAS operator right behind it. Didn't quite catch if it was the mute or the smoke, but one of them are there. One of them has a shotgun that's going to be hungry for anybody close enough to then swinging distant. The vault spot from Queen is quite precarious. He takes down the shield, but unfortunately that was a Goyo kind. Down goes 50% of her HP, as well as a whole bunch of bullets flying her way, because once a shield blows up, you know that somebody's near. They narrowly miss, and she's going to keep on holding this angle because, unlike Talentless, Team Sinister's attacks have definitely been a lot more speedy. More nades coming out, but unfortunately for them, nobody's home on the corner of Freezer. Everybody on the side of Talentless has stalled. They just pulled back. They're playing more passive, and they're waiting for Sinister to come to them.
Yeah, but timer is ticking. We're seeing a bit of aggression from this front of the laundry, and again, Chocolate Babe's going to get thrown out. But all the aggression from Lady Brutal is going to take down Bear before they can throw down any more of that utility. The plant is going to start being stuck. Lady Brutal with another one onto Night Owl, and it's going to be a 2v3 post plant.
Well, the defenders definitely have their work cut out for them, as now it's just one. It's just Dawn. E-Girl versus Pyra. Shades of round 6 could potentially go out, except this time E-Girl has Pyra right behind her. The man advantage on their side is this post plant is in a pretty good spot. They have main, they have Freezer, they have an effective 90-degree crossfire that Dawn is going to have to overcome. She's going to have to take one of these pieces, and she only has about 5 seconds to do so. She's so far away from the diffuser. The time, every single round has gone not in the way of Talentless. always in the favor of Sinister. They play it masterfully, just passive enough to reel in the Goyo for the final kill, cut them straight down, and Team Sinister secure a 7-2 quite impressive victory.
Yeah, very, very, very impressive. And again, it's to be honest, I feel like, yes, I feel this evening Sinister came across like perhaps a slightly more structured team. But at the same time, I will point out this is a roster that have played together for potentially like way longer than Talentless have. Well, definitely way longer than Talentless have as a roster. Sinister, they've been in so many tournaments for a while now, even as far back as 2 years ago, pretty much. So realistically, am I surprised by the way they performed, especially on a map like Oregon, which again is very standard by the basics, like the back of your hand? No, I'm not surprised at all. Well, I am
We didn't get to see
surprised
an
about.
Amaru rush, unfortunately.
We didn't. No, yeah,
we did
didn't. But we did see the old razzle dazzle, here, there, and everywhere. We saw Queen with some absolutely just
And the Cav.
the
Also played the Cav.
the rattest plays that I've seen in a while, and I respect it. I really respect it. But yeah, I think ultimately that's very much a situation of like it is what it is. And again, it's only week 2, so if
It's only week 2.
Yeah, if you're talentless, you're kind of like, okay, that's our second loss right now, but it's okay. We can kind of understand that we maybe need a bit more time as a roster, and going forward, what can we do now to kind of solidify some of the things that we're going to be doing against the teams that we're going to be facing, doing a little bit of the old counter-stratting.
Personally, for me with Talentless, I would like to see the entry game ramped up just a little bit on their attacks.
Yes.
Just the solo entry was not working. So, get 2 people on it. Try to double up, take those man. You don't want to take 1v1s because that's flipping a coin. Who's going to come out on top? You want to try to be as safe as possible. You've got double flank watch. So both of these players, their utility doesn't come into the game until later, maybe like mid-round. So both of those players should be droning in the other 2 entries, just hot drones right behind. So it's almost like a 4-on-1. And when you have 2 people, 2 guns up, 2 drones feeding information, it's so hard as a roamer to try to win that gunfight. And I think a lot more times Talentless would be able to get that map control a lot faster. They could have cranked up the aggression. Their timetable would have been better, and I think they would have been a lot more successful.
No, yeah, I completely agree with that. Personally, didn't really like the 0 being brought too much. Don't really think it benefited them. Would have liked to see them mix that up a little bit more.
I mean, 0 is a good gun, but mainly the round that's sticking out to me was that basement retake where there was just 2 0 cams randomly, like one on top of the door and one below. That was indicative of me that they didn't necessarily have a plan of where to put all the cameras. They were just kind of getting thrown into whatever position that's just like, I mean, I have the utility, why not use it? Which sometimes does work, but on a map such as Oregon, where you were bringing the Nomad, Gridlock, 0, all of them in some sort of combination, we still saw flanks. That is a little bit of a red flag.
I will say potentially it's also, when it came to their actual pushes on the attack, certainly, sometimes felt like it wasn't as concrete as it could be. But again, I feel like a lot of the time to do with that, it is just time with a roster to work out like this is our plan, confidence for the IGL, things like that. It just needs time. That's what I think about that roster. I think they've got a really nice foundation there. They just then have to build on it.
They say time heals all wounds, right? Whether it's heartbreak, not a window. Not somebody's window.
Not somebody's window. I mean, you get another sheet of glass, but it's not quite the same. But that is a hashtag sin win on the board, as they say. So I think, again, if you're Sinister, that's really nice. And we've seen some very, very good siege so far this evening, to be honest. Again, some very aggressive plays already. There's still 2 more matches to go as well. It will be being taken over by Lightros and Santos casts. So that's going to be an interesting one for you all, as we are dipping, aren't we, CDAPs?
Yeah, unfortunately we are. They can't give us all the games. That wouldn't be fair, but I think another 10-minute break will be before those next casters come in. So don't go anywhere. We still got a whole lot of games. We got Goo Goo Dolls after this. It's definitely going to be a barn burner. Thank you so much for dealing with us. We'll toss it on over to the next casters.